Welcome to episode 3 of Through It All. I've got you with Mark and Sharanda. We're already on episode 3. Can you believe it?
I can't.
Time is moving.
It is.
Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about investing in your marriage, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane. We realize that you don't know us a lot. For those that do know us, you know some of our story. We're going to talk a little bit about how we got here. We just end up in 21 years. We just celebrated our anniversary last week. Happy anniversary, baby.
Same to you. Happy anniversary.
21 years, and we both said it went just like that.
It did.
It went fast. But we're going to talk about investing in our marriage today. And next week, what are we talking about, sweetheart?
Next week, we're going to talk about time apart.
Time apart. Already in episode 3, we're moving to time apart on episode 4. We've done this long enough. It's time that we get a break from each other. No, that's not what this is. This is really just a myriad of topics that will happen in the different seasons of your marriage. So we want to talk a little bit about time apart and how that's important. You know, they say time apart, heart
Grow fonder.
grow fonder. So that's next week. So make sure you tune in to hear about that. But this week, again, we're going to talk a little bit about investing in our marriage. So Sharanda, you did a little bit of digging and research, and you found about this a little bit. You want to talk a little bit about what you think investing in our marriage is, and I'll talk a little bit about it as well.
Yeah. So investing in your marriage, I think it's important. Put time in to get something out and taking the time to do things that you did to get where you're at now. So you have to continue to invest in that. I know for us, we try to do that quite often, spend time together, however we try to do it. But we try to, spend a lot of time together in a little time apart, but, more so together to help invest and grow our marriage.
That's right. And as we talked about that, it didn't just happen. It took time to get to this point of where we are today, and we're in a really good place. And we've always been in good places, but there were some roller coaster rides along the way, and there still could be some that we don't foresee coming. But what we do know is that through it all, we're not going anywhere. And I want to take a little trip down memory lane and talk a little bit about how we even ended up at 21 years, because it just didn't happen, right? There were some things that took place early in our relationship, even before our marriage, and I think that's really talking about how we invested in it from early on. So I'll start it, and then you fill in some of the gaps. And
Okay.
I have my memory may not be as to the point as yours sometime.
Mm-hmm.
We said this in the very beginning. Sharon and I have known each other. For me, it's since the 8th grade, and if I think back, we came back from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And we went back to a church that we used to go to, and that's where your family was already there. You came back from where?
We had just moved back from Kansas.
From Kansas. And so we ended up at the same place. And I know for me, growing up in church, and not everyone has grown up in church, but this is just our story. This is where we met and where we continue to build a foundation. Is I noticed you, but I didn't notice you, right? My mind around that time was different than it is today, just like many men and some women. The first thing I noticed were you is those hips. It's like, who's that? Okay. What we got here? But I had a motto that I didn't want to come between anybody and God. So I had a rule where I didn't try to talk to, mess with girls that I went to church with. What, do you remember me at all coming to the church?
I do remember when you guys came back, and it was like, the Brooks family's back, and I noticed you, but it wasn't to the point like I wanted to be in a relationship at that point with you. We was just friends, after you guys got back and we got to know your family a little better.
Yeah, so our family started getting to know each other in church, and you used to hang out a little bit more with my mom than
I did. So Mark's mom and I would take road trips together, and I used to call her Aunt Mimi, and my siblings still call her Aunt Mimi today, but now I call her Mommy Mimi. But so her and I would hang out together, go shopping, do trips together, And I remember one time we came up to UNC Charlotte and we saw you.
You did. I remember that, and that was, I think, my sophomore year in school, and you took a trip up there, and sophomore, or freshman, maybe freshman year.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. But you took a trip, and we again were just friends at the time, and as circumstances happened, you started at UNCG, and ended up leaving UNCG. I started at UNCC and ended up leaving UNCC under duress. They told me I needed to leave. Well, they didn't tell me to leave. They asked me not to stay on campus anymore, and I just stayed for 2 years in Charlotte and couldn't hack it. So I needed to go back home, get a fresh start. So anyway, we were friends. We knew each other. We knew you were back and I was back. And my vehicle, I think my vehicle broke down.
Yes.
And we both ended up going to Fayetteville State. And so we started carpooling.
We did.
And you want to tell, you reminded me of this today. I didn't remember this. You reminded me of this.
The first day I pick him up this is the day I really notice him. He comes out, he has on shorts, he has on this, I don't know if it was the hat that you wear, but anyway, he had it turned backwards, and I was just like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, he is so fine. And that's when I first noticed him. And I don't think I ever said anything or acted any way that he would have known that I was looking at him and I peeped him. But yeah, that was today.
I'm blushing right now. You just can't see it because of my skin tone. And I remember us going to school. I remember us just growing close. And there was days I would drive, pick you up. There was days you would drive, pick me up. And, we were just headed in a direction, trying to finish school. We both had our own hiccups while we ended up there.
Right.
But we were both on the road to finishing school. And I think even a deeper friendship started to develop at that time.
It did.
There wasn't anything relationship-wise. There wasn't anything couple-wise. It was just friends that had known each other a while, spending time together.
Yep.
And through that's when we both started looking at each other a little bit different. I know I continued to see you and was like, you know what? This is something I want to get to know a little bit better on a different level. Beautiful young lady, got herself together, goals and aspirations. I know the family history, even though one of your brothers didn't like me. Because he didn't like me, it was just the things that I was doing at the time. He didn't like where I was in my head, especially dating his sister. But we started a relationship at that time, and we started investing in our relationship early, even before it became a relationship. So one of the things, as we talked about investing in your marriage, is that friendship.
Right.
I would imagine that unless it was a Vegas wedding and it just happened, that you were friends before the marriage, and that's something that will keep you through the marriage, is that friendship and that relationship.
Yep. So finally in 1995 at your family reunion came to town.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm close to the family. So I attended the reunion, went to the house, and I think, I don't remember, was it Friday? I think it was that Friday evening. You walked me out to my car, and I think that's when we finally decided, like, you know what? I like you, you like me. That's where it started.
That's where it started. I always say you made the first move.
I did not.
That's just how I remember it.
No.
No, I know you didn't. I like to remember it my way. It's almost like one of my favorite movies. I like the baby version better. I like my version better. But no, I did walk you out and made the move, and you reciprocated, which I'm happy about. I wasn't turned down. And it's funny as you say that, back in that family reunion, some of the family members were like, yeah, she like you. I do remember that, and I can't remember exactly who said that, but it was several. I was like, nah, but it was there.
Yep.
Fast forward, as we start in the relationship, I remember a real quick trip that we took while we were in college. Right, you were biology major.
Biology major. Mm-hmm.
I was a business administration with a minor in finance and banking and finance major. And there was this school trip to Virginia, and it was put on by was it the media, communications, newspaper,
I can't remember
journalism.
The class. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was the school of business. I don't know.
I don't know.
remember.
I think it was all centered around journalism because it was
Right.
newspaper outlets there. They were looking to hire. It was almost like a job fair.
It was a job fair, like a career fair.
Yeah.
type
So
thing.
we signed up like we were in that major. It was like a trip to get away together. Let's go. And we did. They had separate rooms and everything for everybody, but we took the time, and I don't know if we made it to any of the career fair. Maybe we walked around a little bit. I don't know.
We did.
Oh, we did. I don't
Yep. We walked around.
But we took that trip, and then we ended up staying the weekend and went to, was it Potomac Mills?
Potomac Mills.
Potomac Mills.
Yep.
Spent some time with your brother
Yep.
Wilson that was there. We just had a ball spending
did.
time with each other, getting to know each other away from the school routine, away from carpooling, just you and I together. And you don't know when you're going through that how you vibe together in
Right.
different situations, and we did. I remember in the mall at Potomac Mills, real quick, and then we're going to jump in here. Well, we just wanted to give you a little bit about us, right? Potomac Mills, it's a very eclectic and I would say diverse area in the DC or the DMZ. DMV area. I said the DMZ, like the demilitarized zone. I'm thinking of my military background. But in that area, and everywhere, every store we went into, it was different languages being spoken.
Yep.
And I said, you know what, this ain't right. I just started speaking a language that I made up on the spot.
No, he was like, let's make up our own language and speak our own language. And so we did. He would say something, I'd say something back. I don't know, some language we made up.
And you went with it. I was like, oh yeah, she fun. She just go with it. And I don't know what people like, what are they talking about? And we act like we knew what we was talking about. And it just was fun, right? Just clean, fun, getting to know each other, seeing how we react. And we continued to do that throughout our time dating. Just having a good time with each other, spending time with each other, even if it's doing nothing, if it's going to the pool, if it's catching a movie on, we had Blockbusters.
Oh yeah, we used to rent Blockbuster movies back then.
So it was all of that. It was even back in Fayetteville, we would do things. We would go to a friend's house, meet over there, and just spend time together.
Yeah, it was a group of us used to hang out
It was.
together.
It was. And we just continued to get to know each other. So you fast forward as we're dating, and again in the first episode I talked about Sharanda being ready before me. I think that I wasn't ready to be married, but I was ready to be in a relationship. I would say semi-relationship. I still had some things in me that needed to get worked out, right? I wasn't as faithful as I needed to be, or just as focused on our relationship, even though I was running from something that I didn't need to run from. But part of that was me. I really feel like if I didn't have that time vested, and I feel like, you tell me if it's true or not, if you didn't know my family or know me as well, and more me, because you marry into a family, but you don't marry the family. But if we didn't have that relationship, you might have walked out the door and I might have missed out on this.
I was about to walk out the door, remember?
I do remember that. I didn't want to go there yet, but you did. You gave me, it was an ultimatum. And I remember us sitting down at my apartment, and this was after 6.5 years or 7 years of dating and taking her through that. You said, listen, this has been good, but I need to move on. Yep. And I knew at that time, I said, you know what else is there? There's nothing else for me. And I asked you, I said, give me 6 months. I think I asked you that.
I don't think it was 6 months.
3 months?
I can't remember, but it wasn't that long. 6 months definitely was not.
It wasn't 6 months?
No.
All right, so it had to be, give me a month.
I don't even know what's a month.
I said, give me some time.
Time. I think that's exactly what you said. Give me some time.
Oh, I could have stretched that, then.
No.
Okay. Well, I said, give me some time. And I had already made up in my mind. And I think you saw when I asked you that, and my actions said that I was ready to be all about you. That's a fast forward. We'll dip back and forward into some of the things that got us to where we are today. But we wanted to share a little bit that we just didn't arrive here.
Right.
We went through, and I put you through some things to get here. What I really want to stress is that even after the marriage, you can't just rest on, I'm married now,
right,
and not invest in your marriage as if you were dating. And that's one thing one thing I want to stress is that you have to continually date each other,
Yes.
even after you said I do, or you got married at the courthouse steps, or you got married in Vegas. Whatever you did, you have to continue to date each other. And what does that look like?
Agreed.
What does that look like to you?
We know life is always lifing. You have work, you have children, you have extracurricular activities. If you have children, you have in church, if you're involved in your church, set some time for each other. And how that looks is however you guys, fix it. I know for us, when our children were younger, what we would try to do is, by 6 o'clock, have them fed and bathed, have the kitchen cleaned up. So Mark and I can, have some time together. We'll sit on the couch, watch a movie, more so me watching the movie because somebody will fall asleep while we're watching the movie.
I mean, the couch is comfortable. Well,
But-
I'm leaning on you.
But yeah, so try to put that time in there some kind of way. We know it's hard, but you have to find that time.
It doesn't have to be something dramatic.
It doesn't.
It could be a walk around the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
It could be just sitting on the front porch, the back porch, and just chatting it up. Sometimes it's not saying anything. It's just being in each other's presence. 'Cause
Right.
like I said last week, you may have allocated all your words for the day, and you just don't want to talk, but you want to be in their presence.
Right.
You have couples that have date night,
Yeah.
no matter what. They've
Yep.
got a babysitter on
Yep.
standby. They've got a family member on standby, and they said, "Hey, we're going to spend at least, a night every other week or every week, doing something." And that date night may just be you take the kids and we do a stay in.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but the important thing is that you allocate that time to invest in each other. And as you talk about investing, without putting something in, you don't get something out.
Right.
And I think about practical investing. You have to sow a seed in order to get a return.
You do.
And if you sow no time, you'll lose time.
Right.
And if you sow time, it gives you time. It gives you time for grace. It gives you time when you make mistakes. You can lean on that. It gives you time when you can't find the time. You still can lean on the time that you have, because sometimes life is life, and like you said, and you have less time to do those things that you want. But one of you will recognize, hey, we haven't had a chance to do X in a while.
Yep.
Let's plan for it. When you hear that from your spouse, you got to recognize that they're missing that quality time with you. If you're at the point in your marriage where you're having a family, if you focus on only the children, it can cause you to drift apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I know for us, Friday night was our date night. Then when the kids came into play, that kind of went away. We turned that into family night. And so we changed our date night to Saturday night. So you just have to figure out, what works best for you all. And it doesn't have to be something expensive, like you said. It doesn't have to break the bank. If you can afford it, go out to a nice dinner or go out for dessert. We do that too. Just go grab something sweet. And he knows I like coffee. I'm like, hey, ride with me to Starbucks. I want coffee. I drink coffee all day long. It doesn't matter time of day. So, something like that, or walk in the neighborhood. Like he said, it doesn't have to be something so grand. It's just that time together so that you two can have that time, like you said, to talk or not talk or just walk and just take in.
That's right. And if you can't plan vacations, we've done family vacations, and then we've focused on vacations without the kids and without the family. And I love
that's
the family.
something we just started doing.
We
like
did.
Every year now, Mark and I would take a vacation together, just him and myself, and I love it.
I do too. And we couldn't always do it.
No.
We couldn't do it financially. We couldn't do it time-wise. We built to this, but we knew we were building. We were sowing those seeds. We were building to be able to afford to spend time apart with just us. One thing I do want to mention that we do, and you can find this in your areas, we attend couples retreats.
Yep.
Ours are tied to churches, but then we've done some without a church, right? We went
Yeah.
to the mountains not too long
Yeah, with a
ago with a group of friends,
yeah.
and it was just couples, and you can learn so much from other couples, and that's the thing with these marriage retreats. The ones we have gone to, they focus on the marriage, but then they'll have different themes. And what I like about them is that you'll spend time with just men,
Yep.
and then women will spend time with women because you can learn from others.
You can.
You can take things away, you can add things, you can remove things. When you hear experienced couples share their stories, you'll have, in this particular one that we've gone to, you'll have couples that are in front of us, right? They've been married 30, 40, 50 years, and they're still learning and wanting to invest in their marriage. You'll have some that are very early on in their marriage, and they might not even come out the hotel room the whole weekend. Like, oh, y'all newlyweds. And that's fine too. But that's one thing that we do, and we've done it for the last 11 years.
We have. I enjoy it every time. I think we only miss one since we've been going, but definitely do a marriage retreat or some kind of retreat. I know you have some friends, teammates from work that go every year and do a couples retreat.
Yeah, they do every other year, and
Every other year.
we want to start joining them. They go to different exotic places or Caribbean places, and they just go and invest in each other and have a good time. And again, even changing up your circle of married friends, you'll learn so much. And there are things couples will do that, again, like I said, you won't do, or you can introduce them to new things. And it's just a good time, just having fun with people that have the same mindset as you, is making it through whatever life is throwing at them together, putting those two heads together to get to a common goal. So as we get through this, we want to encourage you to set some things up in the beginning. Hey, this is something we want to make sure to do, no matter what happens, no matter what comes our way, no matter what family situations happen. If we've got to take in a relative, if we've got to take in a niece or a nephew, if we've got to, whatever, we have to do these things for us, because at the end of the day, your children will hopefully move out. They'll move out. They may move back in. That's life. Yes. But they'll move back out. Whoever you've taken in or helped will move on, and you're left with each other. Yep. And if your life was centered around your children and they leave and you have nothing else to talk about, you'll have to work on how do we relearn each other outside of our children. And we hear that a lot. With when the children leave, the relationship starts to dwindle, because it was all focused on the children for those 18, 19, how many years. Everything revolved around their children. We've taken times with our children to even do things together. So we did AAU basketball. I was a coach. You learned the game in order to spend time with us, spend time with me. You used to keep the books. Yep. And even during the AAU, we would sneak away and do the ice cream, or just, something away from the hustle and bustle. And I call that you being invested in whatever your spouse is doing.
And even when our kids were smaller, like we had great parents, like they would come watch our kids one time. And I'm going to say do this too. Like if you are the one who's always planning the surprises, alternate. Don't let that one spouse be the one always planning a surprise. So one time I planned a surprise trip for Mark and I to go to Charleston. He didn't even know anything about it, or had made plans. I don't know if it was your mom or my mom who had came up to watch one of the babies, but do things like that. Surprise the other, be like, hey, what are you doing? Don't plan up for Friday, Saturday, whatever day you want to do it. Surprise them. It's like, I have something for us to do, but don't tell that person, just surprise them with it.
That's right. And even with, depending on work, if you're able to, you've been able to join. We've been blessed enough where you've been able to join me, and my whole career, as I've traveled. Yeah, as I've traveled, I remember taking trips early on we went to, was it Manassas?
Virginia. Mm-hmm.
We went to Virginia, and I was going to be there for 5 days, and you and Yasmin were like, it was driving distance. There was no flights involved. I had to drive anyway, and we took the time to go and had a really good time doing that. We did it when we homeschooled the boys, especially if it was somewhere I had to drive. you would take the curriculum wherever we were going and add that to what they were learning at the time. Again, we were fortunate enough to be able to homeschool for a number of years. We say fortunate. I don't know what the boys may say. It was unfortunate that we did that.
I think they enjoyed it
I
too.
do too. They're still connected to
Yep, they are.
that part of their life. But you would take that opportunity to let them learn about wherever we were going at the time. So we've been very intentional about making sure to
Yep,
invest,
You have to be.
spend time, learn from others. It's just like any investment strategy. You got money managers, you've got people that have done it, but you want them to also be truthful with you, because it's not a bed of roses. Even when you're investing in each other, it's not a bed of roses. You can have the best laid plan and something go awry. But when you have the mindset of through it all, I've got you, even when it goes awry, you won't let that be the end of the story.
That's right.
You know, it'll just be a part of the story, not the end of the story.
Yeah, you don't want the relationship to be boring or dead or dry. So that's why you have to be, like you said, intentional in investing in it constantly. This is a daily thing.
Yeah, it's a daily thing. And then the other thing I want to mention as we get ready to wrap this up is the other type investing. You know, we'll talk about finances at a later point, and again, what we talk about is what we've done. We know others that have done things differently. But when you think about those vacations, or you think about even some of the bigger trips, putting a goal together and working towards it helps you even look forward to those trips. Some couples are able to just say, hey, we can spend the money and go. Some couples have to, hey, it's going to take us a year. Let's put this to the side and pay on this vacation. Whatever works for you, you do, so that you don't allow life to get in the way of you spending time and investing in your marriage.
That's right.
We share different things, like we'll do a shared Bible study, right? Where you have the Bible app, and I'll send a Bible app a lesson that I'm going through with you. You'll do that with me. We share articles where we can talk about it. We share newspaper clippings. We share, I don't know if I've sent you YouTube videos or not. Maybe.
No, more stuff on Instagram.
Yeah, stuff like that. Funny things. You'll tell me, you ain't looked at my Instagram post. You ain't like it. I looked at yours. You ain't look at mine. But that's just the constant loop of sharing, investing. And I say everything you share is an investment. It really is. So make sure that you do it. Make sure that you don't get lackadaisical.
Yeah.
Don't get comfortable in a routine, because if it becomes a routine, it can become boring and old, and can cause you to make you wander around and start looking at things that you would think might excite you.
Something fresh.
And there's nothing wrong with being fresh in the relationship. I say that all the time. We can have something new with you.
That's right.
All the time. And we verbalize it. We talk about it. I want to see this. I want to see that. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we do it because we know that this is a journey.
It is.
Just like any investment. Most investments aren't a quick payoff.
I was ready to say that. This is not overnight.
That's right.
Yet.
This is not a lottery and you hit big. This is, I'm continually to sow seeds, and I see the results, and I reap the benefit. I sow seeds and I reap. And it's just but I enjoy the sowing. I enjoy the reaping.
Yep.
I enjoy the journey. And make sure you do that. Don't get stale. No one wants that.
No. Take time to invest in your marriage.
It is important. So again, thank you for tuning in. Please follow us on Instagram. It's through_it_all_I_got_the letter U. We're on YouTube at the same title. Follow us on all your major podcast platforms. Like and subscribe and share. If you think this could benefit someone that's looking to get into a relationship or in a relationship, please share. And we hope to be a blessing to all of you. So until next time on Through It All, I've Got You with Mark and Sharonda. Thank you for joining.
Take care.